What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Minecraft video. And today we are going to be traveling over there, what is currently just a dark forest, and I'm actually going to be building a lumberjack's hut. I've been struggling for wood, and I thought the perfect solution for that would be building a lumberjack hut and a little tree farm over in that area. I wanted to start the video now at night because it is currently day 100, if you can see in that top left corner. In 100 days, I probably haven't done quite as much as I could have accomplished, but I'm pretty proud of the progress that I've made so far in the world. We have the horse stable, we have our library with an unfinished interior, we have the house that also has an unfinished interior, and then, we've gone to the nether, we've gone on some great adventures in the caves, we went exploring out that way, through the jungle, through the desert, and I think so far in this series, it's been going really well. I'm super happy with the progress I've made up until this point, and I'm super excited to see what the future brings, and I hope that this world will have hundreds and hundreds of more days. As the morning comes, though, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to another Minecraft video here, and I hope y'all are excited for the lumberjack hut I'm going to plan on building. So I scouted out this forested area just a little bit, and I think right here in this area is going to be a really good spot for the lumberjack hut to go. So my house is over there, and the rest of the little village is that way for right now. And I think having it kind of tucked back in this corner, I'll probably end up planting even another tree or two just to hide it a little bit more. But I think having it kind of secluded back here in the forest is going to be a really cool design for it. And there is this little indentation in the ground that I'm going to go ahead and fill in with dirt for now. And I think right in this area that's already mostly been cleared out is going to be the perfect spot to build that house. I think at some point I'll come in and smooth this off a little bit. I do like that there is the hill here that kind of hides the house a little bit from the rest of the village. Obviously, if you're standing over there or up on top of the hill, you'll be able to see it over the top of the hill, but it's not going to be fully exposed, and I think that's a pretty cool idea, just to keep it a little secluded, like I mentioned before. But I do have a decent bit of resources gathered up. I know from building that stable never to underestimate how much it's really going to take to build something, but I do have a little bit gathered up already, and it looks like the sun is already starting to go down, but that's okay. I'll stick it out, and I'll probably build through the night over here. Not 100% sure yet. I will add a few torches just to keep the immediate area a little safer. But that being said, I think I'm gonna get to building on it, and I'm not sure if I want to hop straight into a time lapse right now, but I do need to game plan this build a little bit, because kind of like the stable, I have an idea, but I'm not 100% sure how to translate that into Minecraft, so it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress, but I think it's going to work out really well. So I'm here getting the foundation put in for the house, and I'm gonna have it fairly small compared to the stable and definitely compared to my house, but I think it's gonna come out looking really well. And I'm gonna have the main portion of the house, I think, just like this. I think that's gonna look good. I didn't even count the dimensions, but I think I want to actually extend it out a few more blocks this way, and you'll see that I'm going to use a similar block palette to what I did for my house. I'm going to use a lot of, I'm going to use a lot of spruce and stone bricks for this build, and I think it's going to come out looking really well using that block palette. Like I said, I have a cool idea, and what I am doing for this idea is I've actually been looking at concept arts for lumberjack houses, and I'm gonna try to take some ideas that I've got from that concept art and translate those builds into Minecraft. That's something that I'm really working on doing. Instead of just looking at and not necessarily copying, but taking inspiration directly from Minecraft, getting ideas and from concept arts and actual drawings, I think it's a really good skill to be able to take something that looks really cool and translate it directly into Minecraft. So, like I said, that is what I am working on and what I'm hoping to accomplish with this build. So we're just gonna see if it ends up working out the way that I want it to. Okay, so this is kind of the foundation that I'm working with for the house. It's stone bricks and then a cobblestone floor. And from this, I'm going to build up with the spruce logs, kind of the same style I've been going with for most of my builds, where they have the wood pillars and supports in each of the four corners. And I just think it's a really nice touch on the houses. I think it adds a lot of detail and color that otherwise wouldn't be there. And then I'm actually going to skip out on the kind of wood beams, the connecting beams that I've been putting on the rest of my builds. And instead, I think I'm just going to go with stone all the way up and maybe texture it a little bit with some andesite or some cobblestone. But I actually have that stone smelting up. I have a stack over in my house, and I don't know if that's gonna be enough, but we're gonna hope it is, because I'm not gonna bring any more over here to smelt. I think I'm just gonna, wow, there's a whole trifecta of mobs there, a zombie creeper and a skeleton. That is that's not ideal. But like I said, I have a bunch of stone over here smelting up, and I'm actually gonna keep it as smooth stone for this house. I haven't used that yet for any of my builds in this world, so I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna like it, but I think it's gonna work pretty well. And now that I'm thinking of it, I do want to actually use some andesite in those walls, so I'm gonna have to come over here to my little stone mining pit and get a little bit of that. Alright, so down here is where I've been mining out all of my cobblestone so far for this series, and as you can see, I've been leaving all of the andesite, diorite, and granite, and deciding not to mine that up. So I luckily have a bunch of that available here, and I think just sprinkling a little bit of andesite in throughout the walls is gonna spice it up a little bit and give it a little bit more texture, and a little bit of a change up in just the plain boring stone look. That being said, I do think that boring stone is exactly what I want this house to be. I want it to be really simple, and just this basic little, this woodcutter is a guy that lives out in the woods, and he is a part of the town. He supplies wood to town, but he isn't big on the whole village lifestyle. He prefers to just be out on his own, living in the forest, and making his way by his own. He maybe kills his own animals out in the forest, and he forages for berries. He survives off the land with what he can. I think that's a cool story for him, and that's kind of the reason why I'm choosing to have him out here by himself, over in the woods. Obviously the village is going to expand. I want to put some houses up on this ridge at some point. I want something up on this ridge, so at the end of the day his house isn't going to be too far from the rest of the village, but I do want it to be kind of secluded here in the forest. I want to leave this forest here, probably extend it out a little more just so the house feels a little more secluded, and I think that's going to be really cool for this woodcutter and his story. And now that I have the andesite here, I do think that looks really good. This house is going to be really gray, which I don't know if that's good, but it's what we're going to end up with. And I want to use mostly stone with just a little bit of andesite. I honestly think maybe putting wood in the middle, kind of surrounding a little window, could be nice. Let me craft up a crafting table to put over here so I'm not having to constantly run back and forth. But if I, let's say, take just 14, whatever, random number, but if I take that and I take some of these planks and I just kind of line here for a window, I wonder how that would look. I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it, but I think taking out that top piece and putting stone or andesite across the top will look better. And then I can have the little awning there, so it just exposes the stone to the backside. And just underneath where the awning is gonna rest. I think that's gonna look really cool. And like I said, I want this house to be very simple, and I think I'm gonna have it with less elaborate windows than I've been putting on the rest of my builds. And I think that's gonna look really good for the purposes of what this build is. And I'm gonna go with that same kind of style there, put an andesite there, and finish that up with stone. And then I think that I like it. I think it's accomplishing the simple look that I'm going for, and I'm going to go across here. I don't want to randomize the andesite, but I don't want there to be too little of it, if that makes sense. And then I don't want this to look the exact same for the back side, so let's go like that. And sorry guys, I'm really just talking and kind of yapping as I go, just building this on camera for you guys. Let's go ahead and do one window here. Let's have a smaller window on the back side. That's staring straight at that. I want to move this actually. Let's do that. And I think that's a cool spot for the window. A decent little view out the back. I think that wall looks pretty cool. I think the wood is just enough to add a little bit of texture there, but not ruin the look of the house. And the only thing that I think I might be able to do is just make it a wood pillar instead of just two pieces of wood. But I honestly like it that way. I think I'm going to keep it like that, and if I end up changing my mind in the future or before the build is fully complete, I can switch it up. But as of right now, I think I like what I have going so far, and I'm going to continue the same style through to the front. So if I go ahead and replace these pillars with stone as well, it kind of, it's a little more wood than stone on this front wall, but I think it's enough still that it's going to look pretty good. And I don't know how much of that is even going to be seen. I'm going to have a little roof area come out over the top, because I think I actually want to extend this little porch area out. And I'm going to need 2 more stone bricks, which I can actually make right here. So I'm going to have this little deck area extend all the way across, and then have the little awning coming down from the roof. But I think this is what I want the walls to look like for now. Moving on from the main part of the house, one of the really cool ideas that I saw in some of the concept art was a little I guess roofed, like hooded area that was actually outside, connecting off of the house. So you'd come through, and then this would be a little area to keep the wood that has been cut, and then even have a little forge and furnace area. Obviously, if the woodcutter is living off the land on his own, then he would need somewhere to cook his food. And I think having this little forge right here is a really cool way to do that. And I also want to put down some cobblestone walls here to fence this in and keep out, you know, any of the animals or anything that may try to interfere with his house. So I actually just changed my mind, and I'm going to go ahead and just do a layer of straight cobblestone, and then I'll go ahead and do the cobblestone wall, and I think that's going to add a little bit of texture and make it look a little nicer back there. I'm not 100% set on that, but I think it looks good for now. Unless I went ahead and just did 2 layers of the cobblestone wall. And I honestly don't dislike that. I like that a lot more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that instead. So not a spruce log, but more cobblestone wall. And I think that looks really good. Obviously, there are a lot of details not in this yet, but I'll add in some barrels and some stuff to make this a little more lively here. And then the window looking through there, I think it's still a good idea. He can see out into the outdoor area, and I like that. And then over here, the final part of the house, which this tree might actually need to be trimmed a little bit for this. So over here, I'm actually gonna have a little shed area. It's gonna be enclosed, but it's not going to be like a full-fledged room. It's gonna be walk-in, kind of like the stable was. So I'm gonna have that side, and I'm gonna have it sloped down a little bit, just until it's 2 blocks tall in the back, I think. And I like that. I think that's gonna be a nice little slope to the back. So this is gonna be a storage shed as well. So this is gonna be where he can cook, kind of have a few barrels, and this is gonna be a bigger storage shed where he can store all of the logs and materials that, you know, he's collecting for the townspeople. And with that, that's kind of the full layout of the house. I did a little bit of the walls already, and I need to figure out what materials I'm going to use for all this. But with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and hop into a time lapse for y'all, so that I can work on finishing this up, and I can show y'all the finished product once it's done. Alright everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse, and I hope y'all are liking the finished product of the lumberjack hut. I'm actually going to jump up here so that you guys can see it a little bit better from the aerial view. It is very tucked into these trees, so it's a little tough to see, but I hope you guys like it. I've never done a roof like that before. I think it looks pretty good. I think it came out well. I like that this is a different color roof than the rest. The oak logs, I'm still not 100% set on. I might end up changing those to spruce, just unstripped spruce. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not a big fan of how the oak looks. I think it just kind of sticks out in this build because nothing else is oak logs. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that for now. I actually don't have space in my inventory. Sorry, my inventory is bad right now. Like, even by my standards, my inventory is a mess right now. But like I said, let me go ahead and get these off. And I actually may not have spruce in my inventory. Okay, good. I still have a bunch of spruce logs over here. I wasn't 100% sure if I did anymore, but luckily I do, so I can go ahead and get this put in here, and I'll actually use the scaffolding for that. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys were... It still isn't gonna work for me. Okay, let me try this again. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this log here, and then I'll go ahead and get that spruce one in like that. Sorry guys, that was a bit of a struggle, but yeah, like I said, or like I was saying, I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse, and I hope you guys like this build. I'm really happy with it. I think it came out looking really good actually, and I need one more spruce log, of course, but I think it came out looking really good, and it's, you know, it's pretty much what I had envisioned for it. It's not quite as textured as I may like for it to be, but you know, for the first build I've ever made like this, I think it came out really nicely. The next thing that I need to get taken care of is getting an interior put on this, and I think I'm gonna go with dark oak doors. Yeah, I think those look good for this build. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I have a smoker for the inside here, and I want to make a little kitchen area here. So I think putting these in as shelves look pretty good, maybe. And then I can go ahead and make another crafting table actually for the inside, and put that there, and then maybe one more shelf there. Yeah, I don't hate that. And then, sorry guys, I am brainstorming as I do this, as I'm sure you could tell by my unpreparedness. But next up, I think I'm gonna make a little bookshelf here, and then I'll place the bed here right next to the window, and I'll even put a second smaller bookshelf there. Let's get the torch out of the way just so our woodcutter isn't sleeping directly underneath a torch. But then I can put a chest there, and for that corner I am going to use a log because that seems fitting for a woodcutter's house. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put a potted plant there, I think, in the future. And this little middle section right here is where I will put a cauldron, but I obviously do not have one of those on me at the moment. I do need to go run back and get some glass for these windows, and I need to put some trapdoors on them for shutters as well, which I think I'll use spruce trapdoors again. I think those ones just look really good, and I may put a little balcony out here, not a balcony, but a little shelf out there just to give it a little more depth. I haven't fully decided on that yet, but let me go grab that stuff and I will hop right back over here. So now that I'm back over here with the glass for the windows, I can actually put a little bit of exterior detail on this house. And let me just get all 4 of these windows put in here first. And then I didn't grab a pot for that, but it's okay. I think I will survive for now. And then there's the cauldron for the little sink. And I like this interior. It's very, very simple and really small, but I think it looks pretty nice. But what I do want to do is grab a few more of my spruce logs from this chest and make some more trap doors for these windows, just for some shutters. And I still haven't decided exactly what else I'll put on the outside of these windows, but let me just make a ton of these. I love how trapdoors look for windows. I just hate how much wood it takes to make them. Like, just 4 of those trapdoors was, what, 12 wood? And then if I'm going to go through and put these on all of the windows in the house like that, I think I'm going to put a little awning here, actually, just to make it a little less flat. This wall right now is incredibly flat. And I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Let me do that. I'll actually just do a really simple one. And then down here, I think I'll end up doing stone stairs across there. So I'm making the windows a little bit more complicated than I was originally planning on it, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And let me just make, that is not what I meant to make, and I can't turn those back. So that was not very bright of me. I meant to make the stairs. Oh well, now I have 60 unused cobblestone slabs. Well, oh well, I'll use them at some point in the future. I use cobblestone slabs a lot. I'm actually surprised I didn't use any of them on this build, but I don't think I needed it. And if you're wondering why I have the stone cutter over here, I know it's a stone cutter, but it looks like one of those saws that they can use to cut wood. So I decided to bring that over here as well. And then let me just make a really simple one like that. Or should I have it cover all 4? I think I'll have it cover all 4. I like how that looks a little bit more. And then over here, I actually had the idea to make a little planter box. So I'm going to do 2 stone, and then stone bricks to be exact. And then I'm going to put trap doors around like that. And I think just keeping it super simple and then putting some flowers in there, I think that's going to look really good. I need even more trapdoors. Like I said, it just takes a ton of wood, and I always underestimate how much, like how many trapdoors I'm actually going to need. I need to get in a better habit of just making a ton and thinking that I will use them at some point in the future. Even if I don't, it's not the end of the world if I have extras. And I'm going to need, I believe, 2 more trapdoors. So actually just like that, right? No, because I do need to put 1 on the other side. So I think this will leave me with 1 extra. And this zombie is coming for me. Let me get my sword out real quick. And of course he hit me once, but it's all good. Not the end of the world. Up to 31 levels. So let me do this. And I will actually put another one of those really simple awnings here as well. And of course I need 1 more spruce slab. And there's a spider over here. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna, actually I don't know, I might not go ahead and light up the entire forest, just because, you know, if there was a woodcutter here that didn't want to be disturbed, I'm sure he wouldn't be lighting up an entire forest. So I will probably go ahead and refrain from lighting up the forest. I won't be over in this area very much anyways. This is purely aesthetic. Maybe I'll put a villager over here in this house to inhabit it. I do need stone brick stairs. I think will look really good surrounding this. And then I am going to need some flowers to put in that flower box. But as of right now, I don't have that. at this house, so I will do that next time I'm over here from the main house. But like I was saying, this is kind of just for aesthetic purposes for the village. I probably won't be over here very much. I may or may not make a tree farm over here. I know I said that at the beginning, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's too big of an issue if I don't have like a legit tree farm. And I actually want these, not the bow, but these arrows. I don't think it's too big of a deal if I don't have a fully fledged tree farm. I may make one over here, I may not. We'll have to see about that. As of right now, I've just been doing this where I plant a bunch of oak saplings all next to each other. I just mine the wood. I think that's a very basic tree farm, I guess, early game tree farm. But with that being said, I think this build is more or less fully complete. And I really like how it turned out. I think it's really cool looking, very simple, but I think it does a really good job of what I was intending it to be. And I think it came out looking really good. Okay, so as of right now, since I've finished the main part of this episode, I'm going to use this opportunity to make a handful of chests and finally start working on my chest room. In the episode that I actually built my house, I talked about putting a chest room in this area, and I think I'm still going to use that idea. The only issue is I haven't actually done that yet. So today I am, or I guess finishing up the video, that's not the only thing I've done in this video obviously, but finishing up this video, I am going to go ahead and actually start making a chest room. And I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do this will be. And I think, so if the doorway's here, I think I'm going to go ahead and start it on these two blocks. And I'm going to start making it just like this. And let's see, yeah. And then I can't make it that tall. This may not work quite as well as I had originally wanted it to. I think I may just keep it like this, where it's only this tall for now, and just have it line this entire area. If I end up needing more in the future, that's fine. I can always figure it out and find a way to put more chests in here or make a bigger chest room. But as of right now, I think I'm just going to start lining this wall like I have it going right here. And I'm going to start with all of my wood chests. I have a ton of wood and I need it to go somewhere. So I think I'm going to start separating this out by wood type. So all of my spruce stuff is going to go here. All of my oak here. I think dark oak here. Just because I don't want the wood chest itself to get so cluttered by all the different kinds of woods. And this is going to take a while and a lot of chests to actually do, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. And I don't have the wood right now to really do this, unless can I make chests with warped planks? This is something I've never actually tried. I can. And you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I don't need the warped planks right now. Was that a waste of a stack? Maybe. Is it the end of the world? No, not really. And I'm just gonna continue going down this stretch right here and have all my different wood types. And then, so if I have spruce, oak, dark oak, and then this can be all the other wood types because I don't have that many of all the others. I'm sure this is really boring for y'all, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a bunch of stuff put in these chests, and I will be right back once I have organized it a little bit. And with that, our storage our storage room is finally complete for now. I'm gonna need a ton more wood and a ton more chests, but for right now, this is storing pretty much everything we have. All of the horse stuff I'm going to actually bring over to the stables and store it over there. But we have the wood in this section, some stone stuff, dirt. I think I have a nether chest. So I have the farming stuff here. I have tools, buckets, golden apples, a few miscellaneous things. I have mob drops and our resource chest right here. And for right now, I think this is gonna work really well. I think this room is long enough that just the 2 layers of chests, even on both sides, I think it's gonna work out pretty well. And hopefully I'm not going to need to expand on that at all. Especially, that is a creeper right outside my front door. I really do not want him to blow up in my house. That was honestly pretty scary, seeing a creeper outside my window. Maybe it's time to finally put doors on this house. I want to use spruce doors. I think all my spruce wood is over at the woodcutter's house, but as soon as I finish this recording, I'll head over there and grab that. But before I end the video, I want to run over here and put my horse stuff in this chest over here for now. Just gonna dump that in there. And then I also just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the woodcutter's house build, and I hope you enjoyed me yapping as I built it and as I did the storage system. I really appreciate all of the support on these videos. Thank you guys so much for all the views, every single like, comment. I love reading the comments that you guys leave. Make sure to leave a comment on this video if you have any suggestions for things that you would like to see in the future, maybe something that I can do better in these videos, something that you don't like. Maybe just leave any feedback that you guys have in the comments and let me know what you like and what you don't like about these videos. And you know, like I said, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of the views and every single one of you that watch these videos, so thank y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch y'all in the next one.